She missed her last bus home and took shelter in an abandoned warehouse. There, she found a terrified little girl shivering with fever and stayed with her through the freezing night. What she didn't know, the child belonged to the city's most dangerous mafia boss, and he was about to turn her world upside down. Maya's phone died 3 blocks ago. The last bus had left exactly 14 minutes earlier. She knew because she'd watched its taillights disappear around the corner while she was still half a block away, running with a broken shoe strap and a backpack full of textbooks she couldn't afford to replace. Now the November wind cut through her thin sweater, like it had a personal grudge. The campus district had emptied out fast after midnight. Every coffee shop was dark. Every door was locked. Her roommate wouldn't answer the door this late. Not after their fight about unpaid rent. Maya had $63 in her account and a medical bill that laughed at that number. Walking home would take 4 hours through neighborhoods where girls like her made the news for all the wrong reasons. The warehouse appeared like a dark miracle. It squatted between 2 abandoned factory buildings, its loading dock door hanging half open. Maya had passed it 100 times on the bus. Now she ducked inside, just for a few hours. Just until sunrise when the early bus ran. The inside smelled like rust and old rain. Moonlight filtered through broken windows high above, painting silver squares on the concrete floor. Maya found a corner behind some wooden crates, far from the door. She pulled her knees to her chest and tried not to think about the statistics her criminology professor loved to quote about homeless women. She was not homeless. She was just cold. There was a difference. That's when she heard it. A tiny, broken sound, like a kitten drowning. Maya froze. Her heart hammered against her ribs. Every true crime podcast she'd ever listened to screamed at her to stay quiet, stay hidden, don't investigate strange noises in abandoned buildings at night. The sound came again. Softer this time. Definitely human. Hello, Maya whispered. Silence. She waited 30 seconds, then stood up. Her phone was dead, so no flashlight. She moved toward the sound using the moonlight as her guide, stepping carefully around trash and broken pallets. Behind a stack of water-damaged cardboard boxes, she found her. A little girl, maybe 6 years old, curled into a ball, so tight she looked half her size. Her dress was expensive, Maya noticed immediately. Velvet and lace, the kind you see in department store windows. But it was torn at the sleeve. Her shoes were missing. Her small body shook with fever. Oh my God, Maya breathed. The girl's eyes snapped open, wide and terrified. She scrambled backward, hitting the wall with a small thud. Hey, it's okay, Maya raised her hands, making herself smaller. I'm not going to hurt you. I promise. The girl stared at her with dark, glassy eyes.
She didn't speak.
Didn't make a sound. Just watched Maya with the kind of fear that made Maya's chest ache. Are you lost? Maya asked gently. Where are your parents? Nothing. The girl's lips pressed into a thin line. Maya glanced at the warehouse entrance, then back at the child. Every instinct screamed that something was very wrong. The expensive dress. The missing shoes. The way the girl looked at her like she expected to be hurt. I'm Maya, she tried again. I'm just a college student. I missed my bus, and I'm stuck here until morning. You're stuck here too. A tiny nod. Progress. Maya's mind raced. She should call the police. But her phone was dead. She should leave, find help. But what if whoever took this girl's shoes came back? What if leaving meant something terrible? The girl's teeth started chattering. Her skin looked too pale in the moonlight. Maya made a decision. She shrugged off her denim jacket, the only thing standing between her and the freezing air. It wasn't much. The lining was ripped, and it barely kept her warm. But it was something. Here, Maya said softly, moving slowly. You're cold. The girl watched her approach like a wild animal assessing a threat. But when Maya draped the jacket over her small shoulders, something shifted in those dark eyes. Not trust, exactly, but less fear. Maya sat down beside her, keeping a respectful distance. I'm going to stay right here with you, okay? Until morning. You're not alone. The girl pulled the jacket tighter. Minutes passed. Then an hour. The cold seeped into Maya's bones. Her own body started to shiver. She wrapped her arms around herself and hummed quietly an old lullaby her grandmother used to sing. Something about stars and safe harbors. Slowly, carefully, the little girl leaned closer. Maya held perfectly still. The child's head came to rest against her shoulder. Her small hand gripped Maya's sleeve with surprising strength. "You're safe," Maya whispered, even though she had no idea if that was true. "I've got you." The girl's breathing eventually evened out. Her grip loosened. She fell asleep with her head in Maya's lap, Maya's jacket wrapped around her like armor. Maya didn't sleep. She sat against that cold wall, running her fingers through the girl's tangled hair, humming every song she could remember. Her own body shook with cold. Her teeth chattered. But she didn't move. Because this little girl, whoever she was, had already lost her shoes. She wasn't going to lose her warmth too. The sky started to change around 5:30. Gray light crept through the broken windows. Maya's whole body ached. Her fingers were numb. But the girl in her lap was still breathing, still warm, still alive. That had to count for something. Then she heard the engines. Multiple vehicles. Heavy ones. They screeched to a stop outside the warehouse with the kind of coordination that made Maya's stomach drop. The girl stirred, whimpering. "It's okay," Maya whispered, but her voice shook. The warehouse door slammed open with a bang that echoed like a gunshot. Men poured in. 6, 8, maybe 10 of them. All in black. All armed. Maya's blood turned to ice. She wrapped herself around the little girl, pulling her close, shielding her with her body. This was it. This was how she died. Protecting a child she didn't even know in an abandoned warehouse because she'd missed a bus. "Don't move." The command came from the largest man, his weapon pointed directly at Maya's head. Maya couldn't have moved if she wanted to. Terror had locked her muscles in place. Then another man stepped through the door. He was different from the others. No gun visible, but he didn't need one. Authority rolled off him like heat. His suit probably cost more than Maya's entire college tuition. His dark eyes swept the warehouse with calculated precision before landing on Maya. No, not on Maya. On the little girl trembling in her arms. "Alessia," he breathed. The girl lifted her head. "Papa," she whispered, so quietly Maya almost missed it. The man's face transformed. Relief, rage, and something that looked like pain flashed across his features in rapid succession. He moved forward, and Maya instinctively tightened her hold. "Don't hurt her," Maya said. Her voice came out steadier than she felt. "Please. She's just a child." The man stopped. His eyes met Maya's for the first time. Really met them. He studied her like she was a puzzle he couldn't quite solve. "I'm not going to hurt her," he said quietly. "She's my daughter." The words hit Maya like cold water. She looked down at the little girl, Alessia, who was climbing out of her lap and stumbling toward the man on unsteady legs. He caught her, lifting her into his arms like she weighed nothing. His hand cupped the back of her head with a gentleness that didn't match the weapons or the men or the expensive suit. "You protected her," he said to Maya. It wasn't a question. Maya nodded, unable to find words. The man's jaw tightened. He looked at his daughter's bare feet, the torn dress, the way she clung to Maya's jacket. When his eyes returned to Maya, something dangerous flickered in their depths. "What's your name?" "Maya," her voice cracked.
"Maya Santos."
"Maya Santos," he repeated slowly, like he was memorizing it. "You stayed with her all night." "I couldn't leave her alone." A muscle in his jaw twitched. He turned to one of his men. "Get the car ready. And bring a blanket." Then he looked back at Maya, still sitting on that cold floor, shivering in just her thin sweater. "You're coming with us." It wasn't a request. Maya had never been inside a car that cost more than her family's house. The leather seats were heated. Classical music played softly from hidden speakers. Outside the tinted windows, the city blurred past in shades of gray and gold as dawn broke over the skyline. Maya sat rigid, hands clasped in her lap, very aware that the man beside her could probably make her disappear with a single phone call. Adrian Moretti. She'd heard the name whispered during the drive. One of his men had said it with the kind of reverence people usually reserved for saints or monsters. Alessia sat between them, wrapped in a cashmere blanket, her small hand still clutching Maya's jacket. She hadn't let go of it. Not when they'd carried her to the car. Not when they'd tried to give her water. The jacket was like a lifeline. "Where are you taking me?" Maya finally asked. Her voice sounded too loud in the quiet car. Adrian didn't look at her. His attention was fixed on his daughter, watching her breathe like he expected her to vanish. "My home. You need medical attention." "I need to go home. I have class at 9". Now he looked at her. His eyes were the color of dark honey, and they cut right through her bravado. "You spent 6 hours on a concrete floor in freezing temperatures protecting a child you didn't know. You're hypothermic. You're coming to my home." It still wasn't a request. Maya swallowed. "Is she okay? Alessia?" Something flickered across his face. "Surprise, maybe. You know her name," she told me. Maya looked down at the little girl, who was drifting in and out of sleep. "When you arrived," she said, "Papa." Adrian went very still. She spoke. Just that one word. "Why? What's wrong?" He was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke again, his voice was rougher. "She hasn't spoken in 4 months. Not since her mother died." The words hung in the air like smoke. Maya felt her chest tighten. She looked at this little girl with her expensive dress and her missing shoes and her silence, and suddenly everything made more sense. The fear, the way she'd trembled, the desperate way she'd clung to a stranger's warmth.
"I'm sorry," Maya whispered.
Adrian's jaw clenched. "You have nothing to be sorry for. You saved her life." "What happened? How did she end up in that warehouse?" His expression darkened. "That's not your concern." But Maya saw the rage beneath the careful control. Someone had taken this man's daughter. Someone had left her alone in the cold. And whoever that someone was, they were going to regret being born. The car turned through tall, iron gates. Maya's breath caught. The estate was massive. Stone walls and manicured gardens. Fountains and security cameras. The kind of place that appeared in magazines with titles like Architectural Digest or Rich People Weekly. "Oh God," Maya breathed. "You're actually a mafia boss." Adrian's lips twitched. Almost a smile. "I prefer businessman. Businessmen don't travel with armed guards. Successful businessmen do." The car stopped in front of a mansion that looked like it had been stolen from a European postcard. Staff members lined the entrance, their faces tight with worry. A woman in a white coat rushed forward the moment the car door opened. "Dr. Chun," Adrian said, lifting Alessia carefully. "Check her completely. I want to know everything." The doctor nodded, but when she tried to take Alessia, the little girl woke with a cry of panic. Her arms shot out, reaching past her father, reaching for Maya. The word burst from her lips like a dam breaking. Everyone froze. Alessia's eyes were locked on Maya, wide and desperate. "Maya, don't go. Please don't go." Maya's heart cracked. She stepped forward without thinking, and Alessia's small arms wrapped around her neck with surprising strength. "I'm here," Maya said softly. "I'm right here." Adrian stared at them both like he was seeing a ghost. "She said your name." "I told you she—" "No," he cut her off. "You don't understand. She hasn't said anyone's name. Not mine. Not her grandmother's. Not her therapist who's been trying for months." His voice dropped to almost a whisper. "Who are you?" Maya met his eyes over Alessia's head.
"I'm nobody.
I'm just a college student who missed her bus." "Nobody doesn't exist in my world." Adrian's gaze was intense, searching. "Everyone is someone. Everyone wants something." "I want to go home," Maya said honestly. I want to take a hot shower and sleep for 12 hours and forget this night ever happened. That's not possible anymore. Fear spiked through her. Are you threatening me? I'm being realistic. Adrian gestured to his daughter, who was burrowed against Maya's shoulder. Look at her. Really look. Maya did. Alessia's breathing had calmed. Her grip had loosened from desperate to comfortable. She was humming quietly, the same lullaby Maya had sung in the warehouse. She needs you, Adrian said quietly. I don't know why. I don't know how. But my daughter just spoke for the first time in 4 months, and it was your name. He paused. So, I'm going to make you an offer. Maya's stomach twisted. What kind of offer?
Stay.
Care for Alessia. Help her heal. I'm not a nanny. I'm not a therapist. I'm a criminology student with a part-time job at a campus bookstore. I'll pay you $50,000 a month. The number hit Maya like a physical blow. 50,000. That was more than her mother made in a year. That was her medical bills, her tuition, her rent, everything, solved with one impossible sentence. Why? She managed to ask. Adrian's expression softened as he looked at his daughter. Because 4 months ago, I lost my wife. I can't lose Alessia too. And right now, you're the only person she's trusted since her mother died. He met Maya's eyes. So I'm asking. Please stay. The please undid her. This dangerous man with his weapons and his wealth and his reputation was saying please. For his daughter. For the little girl who was falling asleep against Maya's shoulder. Finally safe. Finally warm. Maya thought about her $63. Her unpaid rent. Her dying phone and broken shoes. She thought about walking away and never looking back. Then Alessia murmured in her sleep, Stay, Maya. Maya closed her eyes. 1 month, she heard herself say. I'll stay for 1 month. Adrian nodded once. 1 month. But they both knew it was a lie. The room they gave Maya was larger than her entire apartment. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked gardens that probably required a full-time staff. The bed was big enough for 4 people. The bathroom had heated floors and a shower with more buttons than her laptop. Maya stood in the middle of it all, still wearing her dirty clothes, and tried not to have a panic attack. A soft knock interrupted her spiral. A woman in her 50s entered, carrying clothes. I'm Helena, the head housekeeper. Mr. Moretti thought you might need these. The clothes were expensive. Designer labels Maya recognized from magazine ads. I can't accept these. They're not a gift. They're practical. Helena's smile was kind but firm. Your clothes are being cleaned. You'll get them back tomorrow. Mr. Moretti doesn't expect you to care for his daughter in dirty jeans. She left before Maya could argue. 20 minutes later, showered and dressed in clothes that felt like wearing clouds, Maya ventured downstairs. A staff member guided her to a room on the 2nd floor. Alessia's bedroom was a princess fantasy. Soft pinks and whites, stuffed animals, a canopy bed. But it felt wrong. Too perfect. Like a museum display of what a little girl's room should be, not what a grieving child needed. Dr. Chin was packing her bag. Mild fever, dehydration, some bruising on her arms. Nothing serious physically, she lowered her voice. But emotionally, that child has been through something terrible. The selective mutism, the trauma response. She needs professional help. She's been seeing therapists, Adrian said from the doorway. Maya hadn't heard him enter. Then she needs a different approach. Or Dr. Chin glanced at Maya. She needs whatever this is. Alessia sat on her bed, wrapped in blankets, eyes fixed on Maya. I'll stay with her, Maya said. Adrian nodded. I'll be in my office if you need anything. When they were alone, Maya sat on the edge of the bed. Hey, Alessia. How are you feeling? The little girl stared at her with those dark, serious eyes. I know you don't know me very well, Maya continued gently. But your dad asked me to stay here for a while. Would that be okay with you? Alessia's response was to crawl into Maya's lap. They sat like that for several minutes. Maya ran her fingers through Alessia's freshly washed hair, humming the same lullaby from the warehouse. She felt the little girl's tension slowly ease. You know what I think? Maya whispered. I think you're really brave. Being brave doesn't mean not being scared. It means being scared and still holding on. Alessia's small hand gripped Maya's shirt. When I was 7, Maya continued, my dad left. Just didn't come home one day. And I stopped talking too. For weeks.
My mom was so worried, she paused.
But then my grandma told me something. She said our voices are powerful. They're how we tell the world we're still here. And the people who love us, they're waiting to hear us. Alessia pulled back slightly, looking up at Maya's face. Your dad, Maya said softly, he's waiting. I can see it in his eyes. He misses hearing your voice. Tears welled in Alessia's eyes. Her lips trembled. It's okay to be sad, Maya whispered. It's okay to miss your mama. That kind of love doesn't just disappear. Mama used to sing to me. The words were so quiet Maya almost missed them. Her heart stopped. Yeah? What did she sing? A song about stars. Alessia's voice was raw and used. She said Mama would always be in the stars, watching over me. Maya's eyes burned with tears she refused to let fall. Your mama was right. And you know what? I bet she's really proud of you. I got lost, Alessia's voice broke. There were bad men. They took me from my car. They said they'd hurt Papa if I made noise. So I didn't. I stayed quiet. Maya pulled her close, her heart breaking. You did exactly right. You were so smart and so brave. Then they left me in that scary place. It was cold. I thought nobody would find me. But I did find you, Maya said firmly. And now you're safe. Your papa's here. I'm here. Alessia buried her face in Maya's shoulder. Don't leave me. Please. Everyone leaves. The desperation in those words gutted Maya. This little girl had lost her mother, been kidnapped, abandoned in a warehouse, and now she was terrified of losing the one person who'd shown her kindness. I'm not going anywhere, Maya promised, even though she had no idea if she could keep it. The door opened quietly. Adrian stood there, frozen. He'd heard everything. Maya saw the rage and pain warring on his face. Rage at whoever had hurt his daughter, pain at what she'd endured. Alessia lifted her head.
Papa?
Adrian crossed the room in 3 strides and knelt beside the bed. I'm here, baby. I was scared to talk, Alessia whispered. The bad men said. They're gone. Adrian's voice was rough. They can't hurt you anymore. I promise. How do you know? His jaw tightened. Because I found them first. The meaning behind those words was clear. Maya should have been horrified. Maybe she was. But looking at this father holding his traumatized daughter, she couldn't find it in herself to judge. Alessia reached for Adrian's hand with one hand, keeping her grip on Maya with the other. Maya stays. Adrian looked at Maya over his daughter's head. Something passed between them. An understanding. A shared purpose. Maya stays, he said. Alessia smiled. A small, fragile thing. But real. Tell me about Mama's song, Maya said softly. About the stars. And Alessia did. In her quiet, hesitant voice, she talked. About her mother. About the songs and the stories and the love that death couldn't erase. Adrian listened with tears streaming silently down his face. And Maya realized she'd just become part of something she didn't fully understand. A broken family trying desperately to heal, held together by the words of a little girl who'd finally found her voice again. Maya woke to sunlight streaming through silk curtains and a moment of pure panic before remembering where she was. The Mafia boss's mansion.
Right.
Her phone, now charged, showed 23 missed calls from her roommate and a text from her boss at the bookstore. Where are you? You're fired if you don't show up today. Maya stared at the message. Yesterday, she was worried about rent. Today, she was living in a mansion, wearing designer clothes, and somehow responsible for a traumatized 6-year-old. Her life had become a badly written drama. A knock at the door. Helena entered with breakfast on a silver tray. Actual silver. Mr. Moretti requests your presence in his office after you eat. Alessia is still sleeping. The office was on the first floor, behind a door that probably cost more than a car. Maya knocked hesitantly.
Come in.
Adrian sat behind a massive desk, reading a tablet. He looked different in daylight. Tired.
Human.
The suit was still expensive, but there were shadows under his eyes that suggested he hadn't slept. Sit, he said, not looking up. Maya sat in the chair across from him, feeling like a student called to the principal's office. I had my lawyers draft a contract. He slid a folder across the desk. Employment terms.
Salary.
Confidentiality clauses. Standard. Maya opened it. The numbers made her dizzy. 50,000 a month. Health insurance. Room and board. A clause about never speaking to media or law enforcement about anything she witnessed. This is insane, she breathed. It's business. I'm not qualified for this. I'm not a nanny or a therapist or... You're what Alessia needs. Adrian finally looked at her. That's the only qualification that matters. Maya's hands shook as she held the contract. This was real. He was serious. What exactly do you expect me to do? Care for her. Help her heal. Be the person she trusts. He paused. Keep her safe. Something in his tone made Maya look up sharply. Safe from what? Adrian's expression hardened. My world isn't kind to weakness. Alessia's attachment to you is already known. That makes you both targets. Targets for what? People who want to hurt me by hurting what I love, he said it matter-of-factly, like discussing the weather. You'll have security. Round the clock. You won't leave this property without armed guards. You won't contact anyone from your old life without clearance. Maya's stomach dropped. You're saying I'm a prisoner. I'm saying you're protected. That's the same thing with better lighting. Adrian's lips twitched. Almost a smile. You're blunt. I appreciate that. I don't appreciate being told I can't leave. Maya stood, anger overriding fear. You can't just keep me here. I can't. Adrian stood too, moving around the desk. But Alessia will ask you to stay. Every morning. Every night. She'll look at you with those eyes and beg you not to leave her alone. And you won't be able to say no because you're not the kind of person who abandons a traumatized child. He was right. Maya hated that he was right. So what am I? She asked quietly. A employee? A hostage? A guest? You're the person who saved my daughter's life. Adrian's voice softened. And I'm the father trying to keep her alive. We both want the same thing, Maya. We just disagree on the price. Maya looked down at the contract.
$52,000.
Her mother's medical bills paid. College loans gone. A future that didn't involve choosing between food and textbooks. All she had to do was stay in a golden cage with a little girl who needed her. 1 month, Maya said. I'll sign for 1 month. Then we renegotiate. Adrian nodded slowly. 1 month. But as Maya signed her name, she felt the weight of chains settling around her. Invisible, comfortable chains made of money and compassion and a 6-year-old's trust. The door burst open. A man in a suit entered, barely glancing at Maya. Boss, we have a problem. The Kozlov family knows about the girl. Adrian's entire demeanor changed. The tired father vanished, replaced by something cold and dangerous. What do they know? That she talked. That there's a college girl living here. The man's eyes flicked to Maya. They're asking questions. Let them ask. Adrian's voice was ice. Double security on the East Wing. No one gets near Alessia's room without my explicit approval. Maya's heart hammered. Who are the Kozlovs? Both men looked at her like they'd forgotten she was there. Rivals, Adrian said simply. Nothing you need to worry about. You just said I'm a target, and now you're telling me not to worry? Adrian moved closer, his presence overwhelming. I have 50 men on this property. Cameras everywhere. Weapons, training, protocols. The Kozlovs won't touch you or Alessia. I promise you that. How can you promise that? Because... He stopped himself, jaw tight. Because I already failed to protect one person I loved. I won't fail again. The raw pain in his voice made Maya's anger falter. This dangerous man, was terrified. Not of his enemies, but of losing his daughter. "Okay," Maya heard herself say. "Okay, I trust you." It was possibly the stupidest thing she'd ever said. But looking into Adrian's eyes, seeing the desperation beneath the control, she meant it. "Good." Adrian stepped back, the walls going back up. "Marcus will show you the security protocols.
Learn them.
Follow them. Your life depends on it." As Maya left the office, she heard Adrian make a phone call. His voice dropped to something lethal. "Find out everything about the Kozlov family's movements. And make sure they understand. Alessia is untouchable." Maya walked back upstairs, past guards she hadn't noticed before, through hallways that suddenly felt less like luxury and more like a fortress. She'd signed a contract. She'd accepted the money. She'd promised to stay. But she was starting to realize the true price wasn't her freedom. It was becoming someone worth killing. 3 weeks passed in a strange rhythm of normalcy and threat. Maya spent mornings with Alessia, reading, drawing, coaxing more words from her healing voice. Afternoons were in the garden under watchful eyes of guards pretending to be gardeners. Evenings were family dinners where Adrian tried to be present, though his phone rang constantly with calls he'd taken other rooms, his voice dropping to dangerous tones. Maya learned the routines, the security checks, the cameras, the way guards communicated through earpieces with coded phrases that sounded casual but meant everything was or wasn't safe. She learned Alessia's nightmares came at 2 a.m, that she only ate food Maya tasted first, that she'd started drawing pictures of the warehouse, working through her trauma one crayon at a time. Maya also learned that Adrian Moretti was more than a mafia boss. He was a father who checked on his daughter 6 times a night, a man who kept his late wife's favorite flowers fresh in every room, someone who'd built an empire but would burn it all down for one little girl's smile. It scared her how easily she'd stopped judging him. "Maya, look." Alessia held up a drawing. "It's us. In the garden. 2 stick figures surrounded by flowers. One small, one tall. Both smiling." "It's beautiful," Maya said, her throat tight. That's when the lights went out. Complete darkness. Then emergency lights kicked in, bathing everything in red. "Stay calm," Marcus's voice crackled through speakers. "Lockdown protocol. Everyone to safe rooms.
Now."
Maya grabbed Alessia, her heart hammering. "It's okay, baby. We're okay." But Alessia was shaking, memories of the warehouse flooding back. "The bad men. They're here." No, Maya started, but armed guards burst through the door. "Miss Santos with me."
Now.
They ran through corridors Maya barely recognized, Alessia clutching her neck. Guards formed a protective circle around them. Somewhere distant, gunshots cracked like fireworks. Oh God. This was real. This was actually happening. They reached a reinforced room, a panic room hidden behind a bookshelf. Marcus shoved them inside. "Stay here. Don't open this door for anyone but me or Mr. Moretti. Understand?" Maya nodded, unable to speak past her terror. The door sealed with a hydraulic hiss. Maya found herself in a small space with concrete walls, security monitors, and supplies for days. On the screens, she could see chaos. Men in black tactical gear were breaching the estate. Adrian's guards were fighting back. And in one screen, she saw Adrian himself, moving through the mansion with deadly precision, a gun in his hand like it was part of him. He wasn't afraid. He was furious. Alessia whimpered. "Papa's going to die. Like Mama." "No," Maya forced steel into her voice. "Your papa is the scariest man those bad guys have ever met. He's going to be fine." On the screens, Adrian dropped 2 intruders with shots, so quick Maya barely saw him move. He was protecting his home. His daughter. Her. Minutes felt like hours. Alessia curled in Maya's lap, crying silently. Maya watched the monitors, praying to a god she barely believed in. Then she saw something that made her blood freeze. One of the intruders had made it past the main defenses. He was moving through the East Wing, checking rooms. He was 3 doors away from the panic room entrance. Maya's hands shook as she covered Alessia's eyes. Don't look, baby. Don't look. The man found the bookshelf. Started examining it. Smart. Too smart. Maya looked around frantically. There, a emergency button. She slammed it. On the monitors, every guard's earpiece must have lit up. Adrian's head snapped toward a screen. He saw what Maya saw.
He ran.
The bookshelf moved. The intruder smiled as he found the mechanism. He reached for his weapon as the door began to open. Maya did the only thing she could. She grabbed a fire extinguisher from the wall and positioned herself in front of Alessia. Stay behind me. The door opened. The man stepped through, gun raised. Maya swung with everything she had. The extinguisher connected with his skull. He staggered but didn't fall. His gun came up, pointing at her chest. You picked the wrong family, he growled. Time slowed. Maya saw his finger on the trigger. Saw Alessia behind her. Saw the end of everything. Then Adrian was there. He moved like violence made human. One hand knocked the gun aside. The other struck with brutal efficiency. The intruder crumpled. Adrian kicked the weapon away and turned to Maya, his eyes wild. Are you hurt? Maya couldn't answer. Couldn't breathe. She'd almost died. Alessia had almost. Maya? Adrian's hands cupped her face. Look at me. Are you hurt? No, she managed. We're okay. We're. Alessia launched herself at her father, sobbing. Adrian caught her, holding her tight, his eyes never leaving Maya's face. You hit him, Adrian said quietly. You protected her. I didn't think. Maya's hands were shaking so badly she couldn't control them. I couldn't let him hurt her. Something shifted in Adrian's expression. Respect. Understanding. Maybe something more. The threats contained, Marcus reported through the door. Kozlov sent 8 men. All down or captured. Adrian nodded, still holding his daughter, still watching Maya. Get Dr. Chen here. And I want every person involved in planning this attack. Bring them to the warehouse. The warehouse. Where this had all started. Maya understood what that meant. What Adrian would do there. She should have been horrified. But looking at Alessia's terrified face, at how close they'd come to losing everything, she couldn't find it in herself to care about the fate of men who'd tried to kill a child. You're safe now, Adrian said to both of them. I promise. This won't happen again. Maya believed him. And that scared her more than the gunshots had. Because she was starting to realize she wasn't just protecting Alessia anymore. She was becoming part of this family. This dangerous, deadly, devoted family. And there was no going back. Maya found Adrian on the terrace at midnight, staring at the city lights below. She'd put Alessia to bed an hour ago, staying until the little girl's breathing evened out. The attack had shaken them all, but Alessia most of all. She'd regressed, going silent again for 2 days before finally whispering Maya's name like a lifeline. You should be sleeping, Adrian said without turning around. He always knew when she was near. So should you. Maya joined him at the railing, maintaining careful distance. It's been 3 days. Have you slept at all? Sleep is a luxury I can't afford right now. Even Mafia bosses need rest. His lips twitched. Businessman.
Right.
Businessmen who interrogate people in warehouses. Adrian's expression darkened. You don't want to know what happened there. You're right. I don't, Maya paused. But I need to understand something. Why do you do this? The Empire, the violence, the constant war. Why not walk away? You think it's that simple? I think you're smarter than everyone gives you credit for. You could disappear. Take Alessia somewhere safe. Start over. Adrian was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was raw. My father built this empire from nothing. Crawled out of poverty through blood and will. He died protecting it. My wife, he stopped, jaw clenched. Maria never wanted this life. She begged me to leave. I promised her I would. After one more deal. One more consolidation. Just a little more security. And then she died. Car accident. Or that's what the police report said. Adrian's hands gripped the railing. But I know better. The Kozlovs have been circling for years. They wanted to send a message. Maya's breath caught. You think they killed her? I know they did. I just can't prove it. His voice dropped to something lethal. But after the attack on my home? Now I have grounds for war. That's what this is about. Revenge. Adrian turned to face her, his eyes blazing. This is about making sure Alessia never loses anyone else. Every enemy I eliminate is one less person who can hurt her. Every deal I close is more security for her future. You think I enjoy this? I think you're drowning in it. The words hung between them like a challenge. You don't understand my world, Adrian said coldly. No, I don't. But I understand grief. Maya moved closer, no longer afraid. I understand a parent trying to protect their child so fiercely they forget the child needs them present, not just safe. Alessia doesn't need an empire, Adrian. She needs her father. She has me. Does she? Or does she have a ghost who checks on her between phone calls about territory and revenge? Maya's voice softened. She draws pictures of you. Did you know that? Every single one has you in it. But you're always far away. Standing in doorways. Behind glass. Never close. Adrian flinched like she'd struck him. After Maria died, he said quietly, I couldn't look at Alessia without seeing my failure. Every time she cried, I heard my wife's voice begging me to leave this life. I threw myself into work because it was easier than facing what I'd lost. And then Alessia stopped talking. And then she stopped talking. He ran a hand through his hair. 4 months of silence. 4 months of the best therapists, specialists, everyone telling me she needed time. Then you show up, a stranger with a cheap jacket and kind eyes, and she speaks. For you. She spoke because I listened. Not as someone trying to fix her, but as someone who understood loss. Maya held his gaze. You could do the same. She's waiting for you, Adrian. Your daughter is waiting for her father to come back. I don't know how. The admission seemed to cost him everything. This powerful man, this dangerous boss, looked suddenly lost. Start small, Maya said gently. Tomorrow morning, have breakfast with her. Not a 5-minute appearance between meetings. Actually sit.
Talk.
Ask about her drawings. What if she asks about Maria? Then you tell her the truth. That you miss her too. That it's okay to be sad together. Maya reached out, hesitating, then touched his arm. Grief doesn't get smaller, Adrian. We just grow bigger around it. But we can't do it alone. Adrian looked down at her hand on his arm. Something vulnerable crossed his face. You're not what I expected. What did you expect? Someone easier to keep at a distance. His hand covered hers, warm and careful. Someone I didn't. He stopped himself. The air between them shifted. Charged. Maya should step back. Should remember he was her employer. A dangerous man. Someone from a world she didn't belong in. But she didn't move. Alessia's not the only one healing, Adrian said softly. You've been here 3 weeks and this house feels different. Lighter. Like we can finally breathe again. That's Alessia finding her voice. It's you, his thumb traced across her knuckles. Both of you. You brought life back into these walls. Maya's heart hammered. This was dangerous. More dangerous than the attack, than the guns, than any threat the Kozlovs could make. Because she was starting to care. Not just about Alessia, but about the broken man behind the Mafia boss reputation. Adrian. I know, he released her hand, stepping back. You're right. We should sleep. Tomorrow I'll have breakfast with Alessia. Actually, be present. Good. As Maya turned to leave, Adrian spoke again.
Maya?
Thank you. For saving her. For staying. For reminding me what matters. Maya looked back at him silhouetted against the city lights. You would have figured it out eventually. No, he said quietly. I don't think I would have. The detective showed up on a Tuesday, dressed like a delivery driver. Maya was in the garden with Alessia when Marcus intercepted her at the gate. Miss Santos, you have a visitor. Says it's urgent. Personal. Personal. Maya's stomach dropped. Nobody from her old life knew where she was. Adrian had made sure of that. In a private sitting room, Detective Sarah Chen waited. Not related to Dr. Chen, Maya noted absurdly. Just an unfortunate coincidence. Maya Santos, the detective's smile was professional, cold. You've been difficult to locate. I'm working. Private position. For Adrian Moretti. Known criminal. Suspected of murder, racketeering, extortion. Detective Chen slid a folder across the table. You're smarter than this. Maya didn't open it. I care for his daughter. That's all. That's all. Chen leaned forward. 3 weeks ago, 8 men attacked this estate. 2 died. The others disappeared. No police report filed. No investigation. Just silence, she paused. You were there. You're a witness. I was protecting a child. And now you're protecting a criminal, Chen's voice hardened. We've been building a case against Moretti for 5 years. We're close. But we need someone inside. Someone he trusts. Maya's blood turned cold. You want me to spy on him. I want you to do the right thing. Help us put away a dangerous man. In exchange, we'll protect you. New identity, money, safety. You can go back to your life. My life. Maya laughed bitterly. You mean my $63 and eviction notice? That life. Better than being complicit in murder. The door opened. Marcus stood there, face unreadable. Miss Santos, Alessia is asking for you. Detective Chen smiled. Think about my offer. You have 48 hours before I come back with a warrant and much less friendly terms. She placed a card on the table. Call me. Before it's too late. After she left, Marcus closed the door. Mr. Moretti will want to know about this. I'm sure he already does. Maya picked up the card, then crumpled it. Tell him the detective wasted her time. But Marcus's expression was troubled. With respect, Miss Santos, you should consider her offer carefully. This life, it destroys people. Good people. Is that a warning? It's advice from someone who's seen too many innocents get caught in the crossfire. Marcus met her eyes. Mr. Moretti cares about you. That makes you dangerous to him and to yourself. His enemies will use you. The law will use you. And eventually, you'll have to choose which side destroys you. Maya found Adrian in his office an hour later. He already knew. Of course he did. I'm not going to spy on you, she said before he could speak. Adrian studied her carefully. I wouldn't blame you if you did. The detective's right.
I'm Dane Hedis.
Being near me puts you at risk. I know what you are. Do you? He stood, moving around the desk. Because I don't think you understand. The Kozlov family? That was just the beginning. I have enemies who will torture you for information. Allies who will betray me if they see weakness. And the law wants me in prison or dead. Preferably both. Stop trying to scare me away. I'm trying to give you an out. His composure cracked. Detective Chen offered you safety. A new life. Take it, Maya. Before what? Before I care too much. Maya moved closer. Too late. I already do. About Alessia. About you. About this broken family that somehow became mine. Adrian's jaw clenched. You don't know what you're saying. I know exactly what I'm saying. I'm choosing to stay. Even though it might destroy you. Even though. They stood inches apart, the tension crackling like electricity. Adrian reached up, his hand hovering near her face, but not quite touching. You're either incredibly brave or incredibly foolish, he murmured. Can't I be both? His lips quirked into almost a smile. Then his phone rang. He answered, his expression darkening instantly. When? How many? I'm on my way. He hung up, already moving. I have to go. Business. I'll be back before midnight. Adrian, wait. He stopped at the door. Marcus will keep you safe. Don't leave the estate. Don't trust anyone you don't know. And Maya? His eyes were intense. Thank you for choosing us. Then he was gone. Maya stood alone in the office, her heart racing. She'd just chosen a mafia boss over the law, over safety, over everything rational and smart. She'd chosen love. The realization hit her like a freight train. She was falling in love with Adrian Moretti, with his broken edges and fierce devotion, with the way he looked at his daughter, like she was the only good thing he'd ever created, with his desperate attempts to be better than the monster everyone expected. Maya, Alessia's voice called from upstairs. Come see. Papa ate breakfast with me today. He stayed the whole time. Maya wiped her eyes and headed upstairs, a smile on her face despite everything. Later that night, Marcus found her reading to Alessia. Miss Santos a moment. In the hallway, his expression was grave. There's something you should know. The warehouse where Mr. Moretti interrogated the Kozlov men? Detective Chun has a warrant to search it tomorrow. If she finds evidence, he'll go to prison.
Yes.
And Alessia will be placed in state custody. Foster care. Maya's world tilted. What are you telling me this for? Because you still have Detective Chen's card. You could call her. Tell her you'll cooperate in exchange for custody of Alessia. She'd agree to that deal. You could save the child even if you can't save the father. That would be betraying Adrian. That would be saving an innocent little girl from a system that will break her worse than any trauma already has. Marcus held her gaze. I've been loyal to Mr. Moretti for 15 years. But even I know sometimes love means making impossible choices. He walked away, leaving Maya in the hallway, torn between loyalty and love, between a man and his daughter, between impossible choices that all led to someone getting hurt. She looked at Alessia through the doorway, finally sleeping peacefully. Then, at the crumpled card in her pocket. 48 hours, Detective Chun had said. Maya had never felt more trapped in her life. Maya made her decision at dawn. She found Adrian in Alessia's room, watching his daughter sleep. He looked exhausted, still in yesterday's clothes, a cut on his jaw he hadn't bothered to clean. The warehouse, Maya said quietly. They're going to find evidence, aren't they? Adrian didn't turn around. Yes. And you'll go to prison. Probably. What happens to Alessia? Now he looked at her, and Maya saw everything in his eyes. The fear, the resignation, the desperate love of a father who'd run out of options. Foster care. Unless he stopped. Unless what? Unless someone with no criminal record, someone she trusts, petitions for emergency custody. His voice was carefully neutral. Detective Chun would support that petition, especially if that someone cooperated with the investigation. Maya's breath caught. You want me to betray you? I want you to save my daughter. Adrian moved closer. I've done terrible things, Maya. I deserve prison. Probably worse. But Alessia? She deserves a life free from this world. A life with someone who actually sees her, not as a pawn or a weakness, but as a child who needs love. Adrian, I'm giving you permission. Call Detective Chun. Make the deal. Get custody of Alessia. Let me go. Tears burned Maya's eyes. There has to be another way. There isn't. He reached up, finally touching her face. You changed everything, Maya. You gave my daughter her voice back. You reminded me what I was fighting for. And you made me realize the best thing I can do for Alessia is remove myself from her life. She needs her father. She needs safety, stability, a future. His thumb brushed away her tears. Things I can never give her, but you can. Maya grabbed his wrist. What if I refuse? What if I don't call Chen? Then I disappear tonight. Take Alessia somewhere they'll never find us. Spend the rest of our lives running. His expression hardened. And she grows up scared, isolated, always looking over her shoulder. I won't do that to her. So you're choosing prison. I'm choosing her future over mine. That's what parents do. Maya looked at this man who'd terrified her 6 weeks ago. This dangerous, broken man who'd learned to love his daughter more than his empire, who was willing to sacrifice everything for a child's chance at normalcy. She pulled out the crumpled card. If I do this, I have conditions. Hope flickered in Adrian's eyes. Anything. Alessia visits you. Every week. Letters, calls, whatever's allowed. You don't disappear from her life. Maya.
No.
You think leaving her completely will save her, but it won't. It'll destroy her. She needs to know her father chose her, not that he abandoned her. Maya's voice shook. She's already lost her mother. She's not losing you too. Adrian pulled her into his arms, holding tight. How did I get so lucky to have you crash into our lives? I missed a bus, Maya laughed through tears. Best, worst night of my life. They stood together as the sun rose, holding on to a moment that couldn't last. 6 months later. Maya pushed Alessia on the swings in the public park near their apartment. A modest place, nothing like the mansion, but filled with Alessia's drawings and laughter and life. Higher, Maya. Higher. Any higher, and you'll fly away. Alessia giggled, the sound pure and bright, and everything Maya had fought for. Adrian had taken a plea deal. 15 years. Eligible for parole in 8. He'd dismantled the violent parts of his empire, turned evidence on the Kozlovs, and cooperated fully in exchange for minimal sentencing and regular visitation rights with Alessia. The first visit had been hard. Alessia had cried, not understanding why Papa had to stay in that place with the guards and the walls. But Adrian had knelt down, taken her small hands, and explained. I made mistakes, baby. Big ones. And now I have to make them right. But I'll always be your papa. And I'll always love you. No walls can change that. Now they visited every Sunday. Alessia drew him pictures. Told him about school, about her new friend Emma, about the library Maya took her to every week. And Adrian listened like she was describing the secrets of the universe. He was healing too. Maya saw it in his letters, in the way he talked about therapy and taking college classes and planning for a future beyond violence. Maya? Alessia jumped off the swing. Do you think Papa's proud of me? Maya knelt down, brushing hair from Alessia's face. I know he is. You're the bravest, smartest, most amazing kid in the world. Do you think he's proud of you? The question surprised her. Why would he be proud of me? Because you saved us. Both of us. Alessia hugged her tight. You're my hero, Maya. And Papa's too. He told me. Maya blinked back tears. 6 months ago, she was a broke college student who'd missed a bus. Now she was a mother to a beautiful little girl. A reason for a broken man to become better. A bridge between a father and daughter that prison walls couldn't break. Her phone buzzed. A text from Adrian. Thank you for the photos. She looks happy. You both do. I love you both so much. Maya typed back. We love you too. See you Sunday. Alessia wants to show you her science project. I can't wait. You changed my life, Maya Santos. Maya smiled, watching Alessia chase butterflies in the afternoon sun. No, she thought. We changed each other's lives. And sometimes that's how the best families are made. Not through blood or circumstance, but through sacrifice, love, and a cold night on a warehouse floor when a stranger chose kindness over safety. Maya had missed her bus that night. But she'd found her way home,